The fragrance of selfless love that has drawn the world into one family. The truth of an eternal message that has been revealed through every act and word. The fulfillment in service that has been taught by relentless sacrifice. The Lord's own life is indeed His message.
Greetings and welcome to the 15th episode of our month-long serial featuring the message of our dear Lord Sai. Yesterday, we started on the topic of education and gave you a broad overview of how education involves bringing out from within God-given capabilities and using them in order to learn about and serve the world that we live in. In the process, we discussed the roles played by the worldly teachers and gurus and the role played by the avatar when he walks the earth. We left you with a question: what do we poor humans do when the avatar is not walking the earth? Today's episode, we will try to shed some light on this aspect. Today, we will tell you about a wonderful example that Swami has personally set regarding education and regarding what we must do about it at the personal level and at the collective or societal level.
You may recall that where healthcare is concerned, Swami took the first step by starting a small general hospital. In the same manner, where education is concerned, Swami took the first step in 1968. Interestingly, this step involved the establishment of a college for women in Anantapur, the town that is the headquarters of Anantapur district in which Puttaparthi is located. As always, Swami started small, in improvised premises, postponing the formal inauguration till the campus was ready with all the required facilities. The inauguration was done by none other than the then President of India, Mr. V.V. Giri. Speaking on that occasion, this is what Swami declared:
India is being forged into a Bhoga Bhumi, the land of luxury, a land of skyscrapers, tinned food, air conditioning and television. Indians are being shaped into an imitative, insurgent and ill-disciplined mass. They are being transplanted on other soils and encouraged to grow without roots. This is an insult to the past and a dangerous defiance of history. It is a sacrilege on history of time and on the sole purpose of human existence. That is the reason why I have decided that this college be inaugurated on Guru Purnima Day as a reminder of the highest tradition in which the highest ideals of life were instilled by personal example and guidance by the Guru. The seed has been planted. It will sprout and spread, heavy with fruits, providing shade, security and sustenance to all.
It is interesting that around the same time, this is what Mr. Malcolm Muggeridge, a leading intellectual of Britain, who was also a leading BBC correspondent, said about education in Britain and in general in Western countries. A country like ours, dedicated to the pursuit of happiness, which means in practice the pursuit of pleasure, money, eroticism, success, with violence for kicks. It is to me very repellent. It is my considered view that the way of life of the Western man today is the most horrible and degraded that ever existed on earth.
So it makes me love it too.
Education, the great mumbo-jumbo and fraud of the age, purports to equip us to live and is prescribed as a universal remedy for everything, from juvenile delinquency to premature senility. For the most part, it only serves to enlarge stupidity, inflate conceit, enhance credulity, and put those subjected to it at the mercy of brainwashers with printing presses, radio, and television at their disposal. By the way, all this was long before the advent of globalization, 24-hour news cycle, the internet, and so on.
It does not take much imagination to see how much more serious the situation has become today, ever since Muggeridge made his observations. So, what Swami was saying made a lot of sense even then. I need hardly say that it is of great relevance for us today.
Way back then, Swami did not talk of a university, although it was very much a part of his master plan. Rather, the Anantapur College for Women was routinely affiliated to a neighbouring university as the law required, while Baba focused on the more important task of moulding the students and teachers. This he did with frequent visits to the campus, spending a lot of time with students and staff, and of course, giving them a lot of special advice, all related to character development. For Swami, the end of education was always character. While this was going on, Swami established a second college, this one within his ashram in Brindavan near Bangalore city, in a temporary location of course. Like the Anantapur College, this one was affiliated to the neighbouring Bangalore University. And as in the case of the Anantapur College students, Swami also gave the students of the Bangalore College a lot of access and intimacy. In this case, it was much easier because Baba now began to spend most of his time in the Brindavan ashram rather than in Puttaparthi. Once again, character development was the main focus, but rather than talking about it, Baba made them grow into a way of life that was ancient in origin but modern in implementation. That is to say, Baba was their guru and students spent time with him absorbing lessons from him, while they did all sorts of ashram work, washing and milking cows, taking care of pets, and even farming. All this, however, did not affect their studies, which went on as in any other college, and the boys even won medals and honours like the students of other colleges did.
Rank list used to have 10 students. Definitely 6 or 7 from our college, Sathya Sai College. But there are boys who got all years first rank, 7 gold medals in all. 7 gold medals, that's a record, that was a record that time. So he was called there. First he refused to go there and Swami told him to go. So he went there, he and others. They offered the gold medals, and normally what is the tradition? Governor, he'll put it on. He refused to accept it. He said, why? Because I want my guru to put it on for me. Took it in his hand, rushed back, ignored the rest of the convocation, rushed here before bhajans got over, gave it to Swami, Swami put it on his neck. So that intimacy comes like that.
If boys had unbounded love for Swami, Baba's love for students was equally intense, if not greater. In 1969, Swami had an impressive new building built for the college, and the classes were shifted from the temporary premises in the Kalyan Mandapam to the new building.
Swami next wanted a new hostel building instead of the temporary building that the students were currently living in. So, he asked his then right-hand man, Colonel Joga Rao, a civil engineer with military experience, to do the needful. As per Swami's instructions, Colonel Joga Rao selected a site right next to the new college building and drew up plans for the construction. Swami approved of the drawings and then selected a day for the foundation stone laying ceremony.
On the afternoon of the day prior to the foundation stone laying, Swami came to the temporary hostel.
Even as he was entering the hostel, one small boy who was studying in the first pre-university class, he gave Swami a letter. Swami took that letter from him. He came inside and he sat down on the chair. And after he sat down on the chair, he casually opened this letter and read it. Swami seemed to be reading that letter for quite some time. Then Swami told that boy, "Can I ask the warden to read this?" That boy said, "Swami, it's your wish." Then Swami called the warden and asked him to read the letter. He had written, "Most beloved Swami, humble pranams at thy lotus feet. Swami, why are you upset with us? Have we transgressed some discipline which is dear to you? If so, please tell us. Do not banish us from Vrindavan. Why are you building a hostel for us somewhere far away from your presence? If you say that you are really not unhappy with us, then Swami, break down this bungalow and build one next to the hostel where it's coming up. We are not particular that we should be here. We are particular that we should be with you, wherever it is." Just pin drop silence. The next question Swami asked was, "Jogara Vekada?" And somebody said, "Swami, Jogara is in the making markings there behind the college." Swami said, "Call him." So a car was sent and he was brought immediately. And Swami said, "See, Jogarao, boys are feeling bad that the hostel is coming up so far away from Vrindavan." Colonel Jogarao protested. He said, No, Swami, it's not far away. It's only next compound." But boy said, No, it is different compound. Then Swami looked at the principal and said, Principal Narendra was the principal then. He said, "Principal, what do you feel?" He said, "Swami, these children are away from their parents. They have left their parents and come. They must be close to you, Swami." And Swami was very moved. He told Jogarao, "Change the plans." There was a tank, and it was decided that inside the tank the hostel would be built. That is where we find the Vrindavan hostel today.
While students were experiencing a high from the divine intimacy that Swami constantly gave them, Baba's objective in doing so were quite clear. He wanted them to learn by watching him in action and to absorb the spirit of selfless service. He made it very clear that while he was not expecting them to become monks and withdraw from the world, he did expect them to serve God through service to society. And this is how he expressed it.
Education must reveal the path which enables man to tap the dormant spring of divinity within without becoming entangled with the mass of created objects. It has to lay stress on spiritual transformation, which is more fundamental than even moral uplift. The real sign of an educated person is his equal attitude towards all. He sees in society the manifestation of divinity. Education does not divert man from nature to the all-pervading Atma. Rather, it leads man to study nature with the unifying Atmic outlook.
The time was slowly approaching to establish a full-fledged university, and Swami now moved to Puttaparthi and set the stage by establishing a college there. With the Puttaparthi college in position, there were now 3 campuses in Anantapur, Vrindavan and Puttaparthi. It was all go for the university to be established, and indeed the university came up in 1981. Swami had always been insisting that one day Puttaparthi would have a university. Many simply did not believe, because Puttaparthi was a village. How could there be a university in a village, they wondered. But when Baba wills, things always happen, no matter what people think or believe. Now that the university had been established, Swami focused on making it a center of excellence, especially moral excellence. At the same time, Swami gave much time to students in the various ways. He frequently came to the grounds to watch the students play, practice for sports festival, and so on. At the other end, he often went to the campus to speak to the students, particularly those enrolled for the MBA degree. Swami used every opportunity to grant intimacy to students. This, for example, was a common scene back in the old days, before the current Sai Kulwant Hall came into existence. Whenever Baba went to Vrindavan, which he most certainly did during the summer vacation, he had long, most informal and thrilling sessions with the students after the evening bhajans, which students look forward to with much keenness. During these spells of unbelievable intimacy, Swami mixed informality with the most serious of teachings, done in a totally relaxed and loving manner.
You cannot see, you cannot love, you cannot believe, you cannot worship, you cannot experience. Nothing you can do. There is one that exists. There's one thing that exists. Many people make use of it in a varied manner.
From time to time, Baba also took a select bunch of students to Kodaikanal, a well-known hill station in the south. The boys invariably treated this as a picnic to heaven, whereas what Swami did was to use divine proximity to bring out most powerfully from within the boys the latent goodness in them. He spent long hours with them, talking to them, making them sing. Going out with them even to picnics and whatnot. But in the midst of all these, he also gave silent and valuable lessons on service. Again and again, Swami reminded students that they came from society and they are what they are because of what society had given to them, and their first duty must always be to society. At the same time, he never made the students feel that they were actually with a stern and demanding teacher. Rather, he was always seen as the mother of mothers, who gave them more pure love than all the mothers in the world put together. Thus, given a chance, they broke into songs expressing their eternal bond to him. Baba returned the love by often playing the role of the proud mother. Very often, he would show off their talents to the public in various manners and feel mighty proud when they did well. For example, every year at the time of the university convocation, there would be a convocation drama staged by the students.
All our castles and all our dreams come crashing down to dust. Even if this entire world deserts us, never lose hope. Because
Swami took deep and personal interest in every aspect of the drama, from the script to the acting to the costumes and even the sets. And when they finally staged the play, how happy he would become. He would later go backstage and spend time with the boys, having a love feast. And it was the same story when January came and it was time to have the annual sports and cultural festival. There was a time when this festival was nothing but a small in-house affair. These days, however, it is a mega event, especially year after year, the like of which is hardly ever seen anywhere else in India. As if to get ready for this, over the years, Swami quietly transformed the huge and barren plot of land near the hill adjoining the university building into a scenic stadium with a unique spiritual ambience. Preparations would begin well in advance, with Swami making repeated visits at most unexpected times, just to see how the students are getting along with their practice and preparations.
Then comes the big day, January the 11th, when Swami changes from being Sai Ma or Sai the Mother to the Divine Chancellor. On that day, the stadium that you see here is filled with people. And all of them are awaiting Swami. They are waiting for him with a passion and longing that they would wait for someone whom they have not seen in years.
Suddenly, there is a signal that Baba is coming. What a grand entry Swami makes, and how beautiful it is. He's welcomed like the King of Kings, but also with such love and affection that no king ever received. The world sees it as an orchestrated event. It might appear so if one looks at the events on the ground, which are a blend of daredevilry, great skills, concentration and coordination.
Coming for a swooping landing.
And a bit of fun as well. But in the midst of all, Swami seated on stage is mostly the proud mother. One can go on and on in this vein, for there is so much to tell. But let us pause for a moment and ask some serious questions. Those who see only the constant, ongoing, endless and the most loving relationship between Swami and the students would hardly realize what is happening behind the scenes. The students quietly and gently absorb innumerable lessons living together, such as the importance of discipline and regularity, the lessons in self-reliance, the value of helping each other and in cooperating rather than competing in a fierce manner as students elsewhere are encouraged to. Baba students get accustomed to leading a Spartan life and take it in their stride, whether they are in their first year or doing their PhD. Every student is allowed to develop and flower in his own way, depending on what his aptitudes are. Some develop as skilled speakers.
Gamiyai nigamati bhumiyai surapuro gamiyai abdija kamiyunda hariyai halahala hariyai bhavadam chudhariyai prasavayu dhariyunda dhatayai kushala sandhatayai bhuvana nirmatayai pagbadu netak ne mrukyadan.
While others become immersed in Veda chanting or take to music in various ways. Still others get a chance to develop artistic abilities, build their skills as community organizers, to excel in research and academics, and so on. All this is happening quietly behind the scenes, and the public is hardly aware of it. But occasionally, they do get glimpses of it, and here is a moving example. It is the evening of Ramzan Day 2010. Swami comes out as usual, but there is a special program waiting for him, a program put together by the Muslim students studying in Baba's University. While hundreds of students belong to other faiths go about their routine in the normal manner, these boys fast during the entire month of Ramadan as Islam requires them to.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
And interestingly, several Hindu boys also fast like their Muslim brothers, just to make them feel that they are not alone or in a strange environment.
He is everything. If at all we have to surrender, we have to surrender. That false notion of doership. This is what Islam stands for. Islam means surrendering ourselves to His divine will.
Even the cross in Christianity symbolizes that very spirit of crossing the eye of ego, signifying the elevation of the lower self into the realization of the higher self.
Thus, it is that on this day, in Swami's divine presence, the students, those who are Muslims and those who belong to other faiths as well, present a program that reflects Islamic teachings and culture. Notice that Swami did not ask the students to do any of this. On the contrary, it is entirely spontaneous. However, there is the silent influence of Swami that has made all this happen. Go back many years when the Muslims of Puttaparthi had no local mosque where they could pray. The very devout had no option but to walk all the way to Bukkapatnam, which was quite far away. That was when Baba decided to build a mosque for the local Muslims. At last there was a mosque in Puttaparthi, and it came as a spontaneous gift from Swami. Over the years, the mosque has grown in many ways, including in the number of people coming there to pray. Swami has always encouraged people to respect all religions and faiths, since every religion is but a road to God. Thus, during bhajans, there are always some that proclaim the unity of all religions and the fact that there is only one God, though known by different names. This, plus the fact that people from different lands and scholars of all religions come to Swami all the time has made it very natural for Baba students to resonate with all faiths.
Yes, we can call God by any name that we like. But at the end of the day, unless there is love behind all our actions, God is not going to be quite pleased with us. Dear viewer, just moments before we heard a bhajan, let us remember that Swami teaches us through bhajans as well. We only have to hear them, understand them, and put them into practice. You know something? Education is much more than mere classroom learning.